This particular location, we flooded in October. This building was sitting atop this concrete structure with floodwaters surrounding the building.
Yeah, it looked like a houseboat.
Yeah, so it was a pretty breathtaking sort of image. The house is located in Rosebrook on the outskirts of Port Fairy. It's in a beautiful floodway that was Gunditj Maraland, and it sits in the ruins of an old flour mill. This house is 9 metres by roughly 3.3 metres, which gives it a total floor area of just under 30 square metres. With the mezzanine level, you get a total floor area of 40 square metres. It's designed with a fully off-grid solar system with batteries and a backup generator, and it's designed largely to be a passive house. The road restrictions mean you can't transport anything on a freeway that's over 5 metres tall. So that does restrict these buildings somewhat to a certain ceiling height, which can make the spaces feel a bit more cramped. That's why we designed this building to have an expandable roof section. The way that this telescopic frame works is the wall panels fold in on themselves, and then the roof can be expanded by operating a wheel which winds a cog system that pushes the whole roof structure up by 1200 millimetres. Then the panels fold back down to complete your wall sections. The cypress that we clad the building in are felled old cypress windbreaks from local farmlands. They're normally pushed into a pile and burnt. We decided to mill the timber and clad our building in it. It created both a beautiful aesthetic, but also meant capturing a lot of carbon, which we thought was pretty important.
We found the concrete slabs in a paddock. Its original purpose was to hold up cow troughs, but they seemed perfect as a floating staircase. We also scrounged metal mesh from an abandoned pig shed, and the beauty of that is that you can scrape your dirty boots off before entering the house. The design was intended to feel like a New York style apartment, but appropriate for a regional setting. The design also explores the use of materials that have been recycled or restored. The double height of the lounge room gives it an additional sense of space. The lower section is encased by steel glass windows.
The glass section of the living area juts out from the rest of the building slightly. When you're sitting on the couch, you're sitting more in nature, pushes you out into the environment.
Copper and ply louvers run horizontally along those windows, giving the opportunity for ventilation to come out through the building. We have pivot doors on the south and western sides of the lounge room. So in summertime, you can open all the doors and have maximum airflow. The western side, you can actually just sit on the ground and dangle your legs over the edge.
The raised mezzanine gave us an opportunity to capitalise on some extra storage, as well as separating the living area from the kitchen area, and it gives you ample storage under the floor for the things you don't use on a daily basis. So the kitchen's got a 2-burner gas cooktop, an extra sized sink, because the sink has to perform a number of functions in a small area. It's got a relatively small fridge and ample storage cupboards. The above sink drying rack means you're not wasting valuable bench space. You can put the dishes straight up out of the way as soon as you've washed them.
The sliding door operates as the bathroom door, but it reveals this hidden storage component. We chose to use a glass splashback so you can still see the beautiful texture of the spotted gum.
And again, the pig mesh was used for some shelving to bring in that rustic feel.
The kitchen table has piano hinges that run along both sides for easy access and just to alleviate some space while you're working away at the kitchen.
The ladder, which runs to the mezzanine area, can be wound up using the same mechanism that winds the roof up. So once you wind that ladder out of your way, the dining space becomes much more ample. And the advantage of having a raised living area is you can sit on that surface at the dining table. We felt that the home office was a very important aspect of any house moving into the future. That's why Nick designed this really clever home office space in the mezzanine that utilises the space perfectly, because you can sit on the floor with your feet dangling on this beautiful plinth and get amazing views out of the windows at the same time.
And then we decided to put a bit of a bookcase easily accessible to your right there, and chose to have a wall and a bookcase and a storage case that broke up the office from the bedroom. The ridge line of the roof is shunted off centre so that you could get this walkable space through the mezzanine area. The bedroom has everything you'd expect: a wardrobe, a cupboard, and drawers underneath the bed.
We've got a mixture of fixed glazing and louvers in the bedroom. The fixed glazing gives you an amazing view, and the louvers create excellent crossflow ventilation.
The colours are still dark to create that sense of the outside is more important,
while also making you feel very cosy.
Yeah.
In the bathroom, we chose to go with the blue stone cobble. These cobbles, they're basically offcuts from the factory that they tumble and get these beautiful rounded edges. They make the bathroom feel quite luxurious, but also very earthy and understated. It creates a very nice experience when complemented with the slats of spotted gum on the ceiling.
The windows are pretty large, so it makes you feel as if you're showering in the outdoors. For the shy, we've got these beautiful louvers that you can then close and feel as if you're less exposed.
We also used brass elements that have been recycled for the handrail, toilet holders, and in the vanity area. Every surface you touched and felt really made you feel like you were connecting to an earthy sort of experience. The plumbing has a composting toilet and a grey water retention system.
The design philosophy of Small is that we just want to shift the attitude towards living within your means.
As we evolve as a community, we are going to understand that bigger is not better in a small space. Not only is it better for the environment, but it's also better for human interaction and your interaction with the outdoors.
Bruny Island's a small island off the southeast coast of Tasmania, with pristine beaches, mountains, rainforests, sense of wildness. Bruny Island Hideaway is a small off-grid cabin.
So the purpose of the cabin is a pure retreat for our client.
So our client, Sophia, she had a great love of Japanese architecture and minimalist sort of design. It was designed to have no loose furniture. So we've got single material that folds and adapts into benches, lofts. It's all part of the one object. We chose a Baltic pine because it has that real lightness, but it also has the richness that we were looking for. The cabin's 28 metres squared as a footprint. It also has an 8 metre squared loft and 3 6 metre squared external decks. The design of the cabin was largely born out of a response to the site. The views to the south are quite picturesque, whereas we needed to catch sun to the north.
So the roof is sloped to angle the solar panels directly to the winter sun. Rainwater is harvested from the roof and collected in underground tanks to keep the clearing uncluttered.
The decks allow views to the south, whereas obviously the sun is from the north. So we were trying to create a deck where you get both those views and still are quite sunny.
So the translucent sliding doors on each side of the building create a sense of containment. Once the doors are slid open, the small footprint of the cabin expands to a 10-metre long axis.
The design of the windows and doors generally was to remove all of the frames. When the large doors are completely open and you just have this timber opening which pulls you out into the landscape. The daybed It's a place to sit around the table and eat, but it's also a second sleeping space. There's storage underneath it. It's also it's a reading nook. We've got bookshelves built in. Sophia is a musician and she keeps her violins on the wall. And it's really just the main kind of space that you sort of want to hang out.
The cabin was required to also have a laundry sink. This is set to the side so that it's a multifunctional bench. Inside of the cabinet is a combined washer-dryer. Other parts of the kitchen, there's a concealed fridge within the cabinetry. There's a gas cooktop for quicker cooking or a summertime when you don't want to heat the space at the same time. I guess the idea of it being a retreat, you have time to bake bread. So the wood-fired oven is a beautiful ritual to cook your food.
The loft created a very different spatial experience. It's very cosy and intimate up there.
The low window is appropriate to lying in bed and looking out the window. The shelf around the bed with the concealed lighting is the alternative to a side table, and then the glass balustrade from the loft also lets the light in and a view from the bed through the skylight.
The cabin on the property is to be used as a base when there's multiple people camping on the site. So that door from the bathroom onto the northern deck allows for other guests to access the bathroom without disturbing people sleeping inside the cabin. We have a freestanding basin. We have an open shower. It's a very flexible, open space. The idea of the bath really was about this kind of sense of retreat. The other side of that is recessing it in the deck meant that we were maximising the kind of use of the space.
Pergola, it's a narrow doorway in a landscape that allows you to pass through, and then when you walk down the timber stepping stones down towards the cabin, it gives you the ability to have a real sense of arrival at the cabin.
The cabin lends itself to this idea of escape and renewal in the landscape in the wilderness is a really kind of special thing that you don't normally get to do.
We've combined all of our publications to date into one beautiful, inspiration-packed bundle. Our 2 books, plus our digital guide. Available now for a special discounted price. Thanks a bundle.
The original building was built in the late 1800s or early 1900s. It was a workers' cottage that had a few extensions that were built onto it. We found this site and this house about 3 or 4 years ago and fell in love with it immediately. It was 56 square metres. What we decided to do in our approach was actually take the cottage back to the original size, which is about 28 square metres, and convert it to a cabin. My partner MJ and I use the cabin as a retreat. We get away from the city and we come to the mountains to climb. The house is located in Blackheath in the Blue Mountains, which is about 2 hours drive west of Sydney. Blue Mountains are known as one of the best climbing places in Australia. Blackheath has an eclectic mix of people, from artists and climbers and long-term locals, and that mix creates a really vibrant hub. When we found the existing cottage, it was in quite a dilapidated condition. We spent quite a lot of time with the existing structure trying to save what we could, and that happened to be the original late 1800s component of the building. The 2 bedrooms that were separated by the hallway was the original component of the cottage. On the back of the 2 bedrooms there was also a veranda with a bullnose roof. We converted the lounge room into a deck. One of the bedrooms and the hall were combined to create a kitchen and a sitting space. The other bedroom was converted into a bedroom, a bathroom and a laundry. For this project I was the client, the architect and the builder. So Some of the things that were important for us is to design in a sustainable way, to respond directly to the specific site. Designing a small space then uses less material. Financially, it's more sustainable as well, and we're able to invest then into the finer details and the craft in the building. What we focused on is trying to make the space as comfortable as possible, feeling luxurious, feeling warm, getting access to light and the beautiful view. We chose very simple materials and simple tones that would connect to the bush. We recycled all of the bricks that were on the site, spent many hours cleaning them, preparing them to be relaid. The arrival is from the street, down a terrace garden. You enter the cabin through a custom black butt door, stepping onto a black tiled doormat which forms part of the fireplace hearth. The black tiles separate the living room from the bedroom. We have custom storage as you enter the house on the left. As you move from the entry into the living space, the view opens up in front of you. The large clear glass window is positioned to frame different views as you move around the sitting space. The small window to the front allows a connection with the street but affords some privacy in the space. Another high-level window in the north roof space provides much needed light and warmth into the cabin. Any of the movable panels which provide ventilation have security screens behind them to satisfy the bushfire attack level requirements. We've got a really comfortable 2.5-seater couch that sits opposite a freestanding, compact, wood-burning fireplace which provides enough heat for the whole cabin. Our little cabin is a retreat for us, and we decided that a TV would be too imposing in the space. We're using an LG ultra short throw projector that provides a great cinema experience in our little cabin. We keep the projector only a handspan away from the wall, and it creates a really large screen for us. The living room and the kitchen share the same space. The kitchen is a single, deep tiled bench with a hob to house a toaster and a kettle. It's a compact kitchen, but it provides multiple food prep areas along the length, with a Fisher & Paykel fridge drawer, 2-burner cooktop, and a microwave oven combination. We've integrated all of the appliances, the drawers and the cupboards together to fit like a jigsaw puzzle. Some of the drawers are long and skinny, some are wide and flat to fit around those appliances. The sleeping room is separated from the living space with a large cavity sliding door. The bed is surrounded on 3 sides by walls, and it's nestled into the room. Small ledges are provided to leave books and charge phones. We have storage under the bed, along with a set of 3 drawers under the leading edge. The glazed component of the window is located to provide a view of the mountain from bed. The custom black butt robe is compact, but it houses lots of drawers and plenty of storage for our personal items. We've made this small space feel bigger by allowing floor to run underneath the robe. We've got a floating shelf which we can use to work at a computer, but also have hanging storage underneath and a window behind it to allow cross ventilation through the bedroom. The bathroom's accessed through the sleeping space and another cavity sliding door. There is a floating basin with a mirrored cabinet with lots of storage above it. We love how even in a small cabin we managed to fit what feels like an opulent shower. The fully tiled wall protects the toilet and basin from getting wet, and there's an underfloor heating system that provides warmth to the space but also provides some ambient warmth that comes into the sleeping room. The laundry is hidden through a heavy external door under the front veranda. We separated the laundry from the internal spaces in the cabin to reduce noise. When you're designing small spaces, and when we're designing small spaces in the future, our focus will be on understanding the use of that space and understanding how people will experience the space and what they value in those spaces. Creating and building small spaces provides a really good opportunity to be sustainable. For example, we had to clean and restore 2,500 bricks. If we had to restore 10,000 or 15,000 bricks, that probably would have become cost prohibitive. By reusing this building and restoring the existing building, it meant we weren't using new materials to rebuild it. That's fundamental in a sustainability approach.
The inspiration behind this project is the simple beach shack or the New Zealand batch, which provides the basics of living. For me, in a small house, each space needs to have overlapping function. Providing comfortable built-in furniture and storage minimises the need for other furniture and objects to clutter the space. This house is located in Walkerville. Walkerville is a small seaside village 2.5 hours southeast of Melbourne. It's on the land of the Emmauel people of the Bruny nation. This building was built in late 2021. The client is the owner of the Jacky Group, which is an art agency, and his partner, who is a writer. The house is used as a mental health retreat for artists, for themselves, and for their family and friends. The client was looking for a seaside beach house that provided only the essentials of living, somewhere to eat, somewhere to cook, and somewhere to rest. The client had the idea that we would paint a mural, and the mural is painted by Becky Orpin, April Phillips, David Booth, and Carla McRae. We have pitched the roof up so that it's at an optimal angle for future solar panels to be installed. In this area, there's no town water, so all the water is collected on the roof and goes into a tank and is treated. There's also no town sewage, so we have an on-site treatment plant that treats all of the water. Because we're in a bushfire attack level, which is quite high, all the exterior materials are non-combustible. The cladding is fibre cement sheet. We have a rusted metal deck, which is also known as corten. Corten is a very durable material that reacts with the coastal corrosive environment. When it was first installed, it just looked like shiny metal, and a few days later, it was a brilliant orange colour. The interior is a more minimal and calming space with light lime-washed ply interior. The house is built to Passive House principles. We have an airtight envelope, high insulation levels in the floors, walls and ceiling. The main living space is tiled in a light grey porcelain tile. We custom designed a banquette seat that turns from the dining banquette into a fold-out double bed. The space also has a built-in daybed under the stairs. It has storage built in underneath. The kitchen has just the essentials: a bar fridge, a benchtop oven, an induction cooktop that can be packed away, an exhaust fan in the wall, and storage for lots of food. We used radiata pine with a lime wash for all the cabinetry and open shelving. The benchtop is a white laminate. The handles are all made out of neoprene rubber. The bathroom is accessed from both inside and outside. Because it's a small house, we've chosen to use a sliding door, and it has towel rails on the back. When you're coming back from the beach, you can enter via the bathroom. The tiles in the bathroom are the same as the tiles we've used throughout the rest of the house. The vanity is also made out of plywood. We also have the heat recovery ventilation system, which uses a very small amount of energy to provide fresh filtered air. So it's actually safeguarding against condensation and mould. The staircase is made from a locally sourced hardwood timber. We've used a steel balustrade with the same kind of netting that's used in sports nets. We left the stairs open at the bottom as storage for shoes. The space upstairs is rather voluminous. It has a really high ceiling thanks to the pitch of the roof. We have a queen bed which has storage underneath. We've used an adjustable modular shelving system from Muisc that could be adapted to have a desk. This is really great for our client who is a writer. We have 2 high-level windows that provide ventilation for the whole house. We've also got a ceiling fan. It's also reversible so it can push the heat down during winter to keep the heat in the living areas. We've chosen not to have any ceiling lights. All the lights are located in the walls that are intended to light specific tasks. We've used concealed LED strip lighting. This creates a really nice, cosy ambience in the space. The idea behind the house is that you live outside on the deck and in the landscape. So the landscapers have created a fire pit area with local quarry rocks as seats. By keeping a house small, we limit the impact on the environment. We reduce the amount of materials required. It's also really important to me that we make the most energy efficient and thermally comfortable home. So incorporating passive house principles, we can create really comfortable, small homes that are also healthy for our clients.
Gawthorne's hut's situated on our 480-acre working farm where we have grass-fed beef and haymaking using sustainable practices. Guests who come to Gawthorne's hut absolutely love coming and staying on their own. They have their own laneway to drive up from Muisc, and their piece of Woolgower is just for them. I'm Steph Gordon. My husband and I are the property owners of Woolgower and the hosts of Gawthorne's hut. Gawthorne's hut's on the outskirts of Muisc, a small township about 3.5 hours drive from Sydney. Gawthorne's hut was specifically designed to host on Airbnb from the get-go. Muisc had a vibrant and existing tourism industry, and we had a spot on our farm that we thought we would love to share with others. We talked as a family when we often picnicked and decided that it would be a positive use of the land there to build Airbnb type accommodation.
We really wanted to build something that was a little bit different and unique, with the view that doing so would get the project a lot more exposure. And to do it well, we knew that we had to get an architect involved.
The main idea was to really create a simple, robust building that was able to reference the materiality and the elements around it.
So the small space is maximised by having limited internal walls and having it quite open plan. The only spot that's enclosed is the toilet.
One of the main parts of the brief was to create an off-grid, sustainable building.
It was really important that we got the orientation right for the solar panels. So the 30-degree roof means that we get great output from the solar panels, which was important.
The building was designed with a 6.6 kilowatt off-grid solar system. We have 12 kilowatts of battery storage, which is housed away on the western side of the building. You don't see any of that at all. It's behind a big opening panel. The building also has 40,000 litres of rainwater storage. 20,000 litres of that is reserved for firefighting. This building's in a bushfire-prone area. The building's designed for maximum natural ventilation and with maximum insulation values where possible. Double glazed timber windows and doors are operable so the building can cross-ventilate in every direction. The flooring is a polished concrete slab. The slab was really about grounding the building and the landscape while also providing a good amount of thermal mass.
We lined the building with black butt ply. We wanted something that was a little bit darker and more higher end than your normal plywood.
A ceiling fan provides cooling in summer. A small wood fireplace provides heating in winter.
The kitchen is fairly minimal. We built it out of some of the leftover timber from the walls and ceiling. There's a 2-burner gas cooker and a fridge.
The dining space itself is just an extension of the kitchen bench, looking out over the view with a big window that can be opened for natural ventilation. The dining area also allows the space to be used as a study or workspace if required. The main idea was that a lot of the dining could really happen outside, by the fire pit, sitting on the concrete step outside.
The bedroom has a king-size bed. We had it made locally by a furniture maker. In terms of the bed head, we've used reclaimed bricks from an old chimney that we had on the property. It's quite low to the ground and it's positioned under the lowest part of the ceiling, so it creates quite an intimate sleeping space.
The bathroom was intended as an open space really, which is about sort of maximising the feeling of space internally, but it also allows good views from all angles of the property, from both the bath and the shower.
We can get away with that because the building's positioned in quite an isolated spot on a farm, so there's no privacy issues with the open bathroom.
The only enclosed area is the toilet. The recycled brick bed head just helps mediate between the bathroom area beyond and just giving a little bit of separation to the sleeping space.
Because it was going to be guests that were using the space, and when they were coming here it would typically be for the first time, we just needed to be really conscious about the building being very intuitive and how it was going to be used. So things like light switches to be easily located, the kitchen appliances being able to be used without instructions.
You might have guests arriving late at night after driving, so the building's always set up, lighting going, possibly the fireplace roaring as a welcoming gesture.
Hosting on Airbnb gave Rick and I the opportunity to value add to our farm, to also create an income stream that was more sustainable than cattle grazing on that particular piece of land. The farm's into its 3rd generation. We feel that we're setting our farm up as a more profitable business to ensure the continuity of family ownership. What we've loved most about hosting on Airbnb is being involved in the vibrant Mudgee tourism community and having guests say that they've experienced something unique and positive that has created memories for them that they're going to take home with them. Each year we as a family have a tree planting day where we put in species local to our area in an attempt to offset a bit of our carbon use and return Woolgoura to a more bush-like setting. We're going to give our guests that experience, and they can plant a tree before they leave and make their own small contribution to a greener, more eco-friendly Australia. People have busy lives and I think they need time to reset, chill and just relax. And Gawthorne's hut provides that opportunity.